Hello, you're very welcome. It's Tuesday evening. It's 9 o'clock, or just after 9 o'clock in this case, and you're very, very welcome to Gantry TV for the second round of the RTA Motorsport.ie MX-5 Championship in association with us here at Gantry TV and indeed the lads over at Sim Consultants. As ever, my name is Kevin Galvin. I'm joined in commentary by Evan Dalton, with Ronan Hederman in the background doing all of the work. But we are at the state of Connecticut. It may be one of the smallest in the US, but tucked between New York, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island, the Constitution State is known for its great pizza in New Haven, scenic fall foliage, and great getaways to the beach or to the mountains. But we are in the lakeside tonight as we head to Lime Rock Park for the second round of this championship. So we started in our first round in Okayama in Japan, and we have crossed the Pacific Ocean opposite to the way that the lads did in Pearl Harbor, over to the state of Connecticut on the east coast to this little 1.5 mile track. It is a small track, but it is packed with punch, and we are taking the non-chicane version, which is going to make things very, very interesting in these MX-5 machines. This is classic iRacing rookies. One of the original tracks, a free original track paired with a free original car. This is where many will have started their iRacing journeys, and now they come back here to try and see if they can do it all again. Lime Rock Park, despite being quite a short circuit, it is an IMSA track and a well-known track at that. My name is Kevin Galvin. As I said, joined by Evan Dalton, where it's partially cloudy, 20 degrees tonight, no chance of rain this evening as far as we're being told, or as far as the weather radar is letting us know. And Evan, all set up nicely now for the second round of a season that's proving to be a lot of outsiders getting involved in the action.
Yeah, hi Kevin, hello everyone. As always, it is a season where there is a lot of outsiders, and the championship standings certainly tell us that. It's not your usuals at the top, and the practice times tonight are very, very close, and there is few and far between. The bunch, Lime Rock, a lot of history, as you said, hosting IMSA, hosting the NASCAR Cup Series for this season as well. And we're actually breaking tradition as it stands, because testing at Lime Rock always takes place on a Tuesday, and we are breaking that rule. Racing on Sundays here actually banned due to a 1959 court order. You're only allowed to race on Fridays and Saturdays. It's a good thing RTA doesn't race on Sundays then, I suppose. But rookies, as you said, proper rookie racing. Rookie racing, usually very entertaining. I can't see this being any different.
Yeah, and it might be a rookie combination, but we certainly don't have rookie drivers in here. There's a lot of guys who are absolutely rapid, and it's going to be very close fought racing. But this track is one of those that does lend itself to accidents, unfortunately. So it's going to be a bit of a survival job as much as anything else.
It is survival of the fittest, certainly when it comes to our 20-minute heat. This is going to be very close. This is going to be proper Mazda MX-5 Cup. If you've seen any sort of Mazda MX-5 Cup, you probably would have seen clips at Daytona where they're 8-9 wide. Well done, Conor Melia, who has just taken the chicane. A lot of people actually taking the chicane, getting that extra bit of heat into the tyres. It's going to be chaotic tonight. It's going to be messy. It's going to be one of those evenings where we could get a shock winner like we got at Long Beach.
Certainly the Tiger line, I think, is what you talk about in golf there. Very interesting. I think it proves the overall IQ of the grid that one guy took the chicane and then they all decided to do it. We're being told that it's some sort of planned demonstration. I'm not sure if that's a protest or not, but
it better not be a protest against the admins, especially Rob Parks, because there's not a hope in hell he's actually watching, so it'd be a little bit pointless.
Yeah, and there's absolutely no hope in hell that he's even on this continent. They certainly won't be doing that in their proper qualifying rounds anyway. And it is interesting though. Like I know the lads are doing it as a bit of a mick take, but that chicane. Sometimes when you enter in the rookies, I remember my time in the rookies. You actually enter into Lime Rock and you're not sure whether the chicane is in play or not. What do you reckon about not using that chicane? I mean, it definitely cuts down on the amount of accidents, right?
I have to say I think it's a good decision, because the last time we used the chicane last time we used Lime Rock as a whole was Formula V's, and there was a lot of incidents, I think, of the run-off of the chicane where there was a bit of grass that was almost like a glitch and it was firing cars in the air or something like that. So I think it's a good decision that we have avoided it. Also keeps a beautiful flow to the track. There's not that heavy braking zone for things to go wrong. And it's going to make this a slipstream fest, and even closer than it already is. There's only a tenth between the top four already. Dylan McClements, the top of the bunch, with his brother Sean making his debut in the championship tonight in the all-white number 7.
Yeah, great to see Sean back, and let's hope that we can follow either himself or Dylan around this little 1.5 mile track at Lime Rock. It is going to be a very, very, very close run thing. It's only 56-second laps. They're going to have a lot of laps here, so chances for guys to get used to the track who maybe haven't had the opportunity to practice during the week. They certainly wouldn't be able to do it on Sunday, as you said, Evan. That's great knowledge there about that corridor there. I love those little facts about the track. But let's have a look at Dylan McClements going round Lime Rock Park here. It is, as we said, a very tight track. There's only, I think, 13 turns in total, something like that. So yeah, we come down Big Bend, and this is all a very flowing section. Very easy to dip your wheel on the grass here as we come through the S's on the left-hand side, and these concrete. They're actually just straight concrete. There's nothing fancy about these curbings on it as we come up towards the uphill right-hander and up along the back straight. But yeah, they can really unsettle a car, maybe an open wheeler. But in these MX-5s, you can see you can be a little bit more aggressive on them. Not too aggressive, but you can just dip a wheel on them as you come over the West Bend, down the hill and through the diving turn for the final corner. So by my reckoning, there's 1, 2, 3, 4-ish, 5, 6, 7 turns really in total, and one of those isn't really a proper turn. So 6 turns you actually have to concern yourself with, which makes this a very simple track. But Evan, of course, means that if you do get one of these turns wrong, it'll pay very dearly.
Yeah, they were also very creative with the corner names for this circuit. You have Big Bend, left-hander, right-hander, no name straight, back straight, and West Bend. So very creative. But one little mistake in your lap is gone here. Because of how close it is, 56.3s is a now, but if you knock 6/10 off that and go to a 56.9, you're down in 12th. So if you make one little mistake, you're not going to get a competitive time in. It just makes precision of paramount importance tonight. You've got to be perfect almost with your car positioning in practically every race here if you want to get the big points. The slipstream is going to be a big thing. This could turn very NASCAR-esque for some of the heats towards the end, or at least I'm hoping, because that's usually entertaining. But yeah, Kevin, I couldn't agree with you more. One little mistake is going to cost you a good lap.
Just as we focus on Peter McCann making a little mistake here and doing a bit of gardening. It's a good weekend for gardening this weekend, but Peter's getting on it early as he allows David Ward to go through there and gets back on track. That's a good rejoin. And actually, speaking of rejoins, is one of those big questions, particularly when you looked at the mistake that Peter made. It's a very, very common mistake. You take that turn one and you're so eager to get out of it, you just end up dipping your left-hand tires onto that left-hand side, and then you kind of have to cut through the left-hander. But of course, you're joining perpendicular to the track, and the way this track is done, a lot of the rejoins, particularly in the first sector, are going to be perpendicular. It's very hard to join in line with the track given how bendy it is. So that's going to be something that drivers are going to have to look out for here, particularly when it comes to those who maybe their track record of rejoins isn't as good. We have some new names on the grid, or at least names that I haven't seen before. Paul Sheehan is one of those. Here's a man we've seen plenty of before. And rather appropriately with the Durex, given that most other cars are going to need protection, then it seems rather fitting that the 961 cars is in that livery. But Paul Sheehan in the 15 car just behind him, that's a new name for me.
I thought that was Paul Sheehan for a second in the livery. I was going to say, what a way to make an introduction for yourself. But no, of course it was Jamal. If you combine two of Jamal's liveries, you get a nice Saturday evening, but we'll say no more than that. Paul Sheehan, brand new name. We have a couple of new names as well. I think we briefly touched on some last week. Ronan Duffy, Ross Wheatley, some returning names. CJ O'Sullivan, Nathan Sweeney. Gary Corcoran returning to full-time racing as well here in RTA, which is good to see. But not too much of a racing background for some of our new names. Nathan Sweeney, of course, you'll recognise from ICC or paddocks. But look, no better way to make an impact on the sim racing world than here in RTA. We'll have to see what lap times they can produce tonight. Certainly someone making a recent impact is Dara Halley, who's currently top of the order. Last season's Long Beach race winner in the IndyCar is looking to take a second successful winning season.
Yeah, Halley is certainly always up and amongst there. It's just, unfortunately, I think Dara finds it hard to stick with the guys up top when it comes to the start of the race. Very quick over an individual lap, but I think Dara's real issue is consistency. So he'll certainly be hoping that he can prove me wrong there and get off to a good start. It's only a 10-minute race. Oh, a big accident in the background there. I think that's Peter McCann involved in that. As Dara pulls off to the side, he's going to leave this one go. But yeah, it's trying to. That's a great. Who's the 24 car? 24. Let me have a look at that's Brandon McGaughan with a superb livery. We'll talk about that later on. I love this as well. It's an ode to Ronan Hederman, I think. That livery. It's the 24 car. Not a great job though, is Brandon of using. There's an awful lot of grass mowing going on here. Sorry, Ronan, that's only a joke, of course. That's not meant. It's yeah. Yeah. Let's go to the standings.
That was not asked for by our broadcast director.
So Conor Melia leads, and we were talking about the irony of Conor doing so well in the opening round when it was the IndyCars that he was looking forward to. Then followed by Evan Walsh, who's again here tonight. He's not in the top 10, is Evan, but he's here tonight. Ronan Doherty then in third, followed by Peter McCann, then Dylan McClemens, Diarmuid Toomey. Emma Dempsey, who was our driver of the day last week, and she's once again up inside the top 10. Very rapid is Emma in these MX-5 cars and well able to stay out of trouble, as is Robbie Callahan, then Dave Collier and Ollie Meredith sharing 10th position. So as it stands, Dara Halley leading Ronan Doherty, but in 6th position, Campto Chukra. He missed her for opening round, but he's making up for lost time, Evan.
Yeah, missed the opening round due to wheel issues, but he's here and ready to go. 1 win and 4 podiums last season for Campto Chukwa. He's looking to make an impact in the Masters and cement himself as an RTA front runner, running the Racing Prodigy livery. He will finish top 5 in the Racing Prodigy Search finalist. Of course, we had Darren McCormack, who's an Irish sim racer who won it, I want to say, or certainly was one of the winners in the way that program works. So that's been a successful program for Irish drivers to get involved in, and Campto with a nice little toe but running a tad bit wide through the diving turn. Keep an eye out on Brandon McGaughan as well for more than just the Ronan Hederman livery. He is off the back of a very successful trip to Spa-Francorchamps, where he raced for Breton Racing in the LMP3 Le Mans Cup. It was 16th place finish for Brandon, but there was a lot of bad luck spread throughout that. But the most important thing was he was lapping the same times as the front runners towards the end of the race. So got right up to pace there. Is hopefully going to finish that season with Breton Racing, and hopefully not doing that into Blanchimont. But hopefully finishing the season with Breton Racing, and maybe that'll open a pathway to Elims or the Le Mans Cup. Oh, this has been the worst audition ever.
Oh, I think I can understand why he might have been on pace, but didn't quite manage to get the result that he wanted in Spa-Francorchamps.
Brandon, I'm picking you up. I'm doing a lot for the career. That could have been a clippable moment, maybe, for sponsors or whatever. No, just pummeled into the side of some poor innocent in a Peter Griffin Mazda.
Yeah, Peter causing absolute carnage. He's certainly living up to the livery, you know. Yeah. So I was going to say it's one of the very few times you can mention Ronan Hederman and Spa-Francorchamps in the same sentence. But there is Brandon McGahan. Nonetheless, right. Dara Halley still leads, which means he's going to be starting us off. If things stay the way they are, we've 3 minutes left, but obviously a short lap means that we have plenty of opportunity for guys to still get amongst this. Any predictions, Evan? You have?
Oh, we're going to get about 8 cars in the wall. That's my prediction. To be brutally honest, I wouldn't be surprised to see Doherty take a victory. Last week took 2 wins, of course. That was his third successive season opener. Taking a race victory, wouldn't be surprised if he continues that trend and puts himself up near the top of the standings. I do still think we're going to get someone surprising on the podium. If you consider Robbie Callaghan a surprise, then I think we're going to get him up there. But last time we visited Lime Rock was in the Formula V's. He took his first ever RTA race win. I think he'll be certainly up there. Beautiful livery that is, by the way. And another little tidbit, if you haven't seen Swansea City's new third kit, Google it. It's that livery on a football shirt. It's beautiful.
Outrageous. It's only a matter of time before Bose make something like that, because they seem to produce a jersey every single week, the way things are going. Now, Evan, good to speak to you, and I'm glad that you've stayed with us. There's Peter McCann again. Is it Peter McCann? No, Jordan Kelly. Jordan Kelly. Not enjoying these not enjoying these MX-5s at all. Good that you've decided to stay with us, Evan, following your TV debut last week.
No, wasn't TV.
And well, tantamount. I suppose the most pressing question of the whole evening is, does Howden's indeed have everything you need?
We do have everything you need. We have everything available from local stock, and almost everything, and if we don't, turnaround time is only a week. Compared to competitors, that just blows them out of the water. We guarantee best local price, bring in a like-for-like quote, we will beat it, and we have a new depot opened in Naas, so make sure you check it out. Ronan will be heading there for his kitchen, if he ever decides to upgrade it, that is. So, if you don't know what Kevin's talking about, consider yourself blessed.
And if you don't, you can feel free to head to the Howden's social media page, because you'll see Evan's lovely face there, looking not at all
either the
awkward.
official one or our depot one. I'm on both.
Yeah. When
As
you told
the great
me
Kevin Joyce said, Murray Walker started his career in advertising. I say no more.
I'm not sure if his advertising was quite the kind that you got involved in, but
There's a day helps you work, rest, and play.
It's nice to see that. It's also nice to have a depot in Naas that doesn't have Ronan Hederman swearing and trying to bang sim racing gear inside it. So
I didn't know where that was going.
Right. Oh, you'll never get those 10 likes faster in your entire life. Right, let's get the standings from our new TV social media star, Evan Dalton.
Wasn't on TV. Dara Halley is top of the order, Ronan Doherty in second, Sean McClements in third, Robbie Callaghan in fourth, and it is Dylan McClements, Brandon McGahan, Campta Chukwa, Conor Melia, Sean McGolick, Emma Dempsey, Evan Walsh, Dermot Toomey, Peter McCann, David Ward, C.J. O'Sullivan, Dave Collier, Simon Hutchings, Gary Corcoran, David Prunty, and Danny Dempsey down the bottom of the order. Outside the top 20 is Ken Doyle, Ronan Duffy, Oliver Meredith, Jamal Gandor, Nathan Sweeney, Jordan Kelly down in 26th, Ross Wheatley, Paul Sheehan, and Phil Upson in 29th. And I've never been so glad that my contract runs up next week.
Maybe you could be the new Mattress Mick. Maybe you could just be, instead of Mattress Mick, you're just Mattress Mick.
I am definitely going back to college.
Right. So
I don't have the looks that Mick has.
I think you double it in charisma though. So I'm looking forward.
Mattress Mick's a legend of the game.
Yeah, you aspire to him.
I aspire in my very dodgy advertising career to be like Mattress Mick.
Posters on your wall of Mattress Mick as your inspiration when you wake up in the morning. Right, Dara Halley kicking us off. Evan, can he hold on to first place on the opening lap? Because that seems to be his downfall.
No, he can't. He'll be slipstream by. The thing is, stick with them and he'll get his opportunities back. As are we standing starts in these? We are, as
And
not rolling starts like the Indy cars. So let's see, can Dara Halley survive then as we go racing here in Lime Rock? Good launch actually from Dara Halley. Horror start from Ronan Doherty, and John McClements has got the better launch of the two. Robbie Callaghan involved as well, as here comes Ronan Doherty trying it around the outside very early on. Not going to work for now. It's all fairly clean further back. A successful start here in Connecticut.
Yeah, good start from everybody in the background. This is where it gets very tight, though. It's only going to take one person going off in the background, and then we have a bowling ball situation. Ken Doyle is losing some places, and there's somebody gone off in the background there as well. I can't exactly see who that is going off in the background, but there's a few people have lost quite a few places, and I was just about to mention this man was one of them. Jordan Kelly down 3 places. How often do you see Jordan Kelly down the back of the grid? And especially how often do you see Jordan Kelly down the back of the grid having only lost 3 places? But it looks like Dara Halley's going to prove you wrong here, Evan. Looks like he's going to lead us through the final turn and through the opening lap.
It's back to kitchen cabinets for me. Here comes Ronan Doherty. Oh, he's close. Oh, he's close. Go on, Ronan. Prove me right. Go on. Has he kept it? No. 0.003 of a second. Ronan Doherty goes for the race lead. Not able to take it. A good start, Callaghan as well. He's kept in line here. The two McClements brothers side by side as there goes Dara Halley. He's fallen off to the grass. I was a corner too late and he's ran very, very wide. An unfortunate mistake for Halley. We might have to take another look at it, see was there a bit of contact there between the two. But very disappointing for Dara Halley. Disappointing for driver of the day last week, Emma Dempsey, who's pulled into the pit lane.
Yeah, I see Emma Dempsey, and I also see a Jurek-sponsored car in the background with an issue. So I'm not suggesting it. I'm just putting it out there. Oh, it's a big accident. Oh, that is David Prunty got off in the background, I think. Skidding off there. I think there was contact, but I'm not entirely sure. But some big losers already. Emma, particularly the biggest of that, down 19 places now. Let's have a look at some of these incidents. Here is the David Prunty incident. David rocking a Vans livery. Very alt of you, David, in fairness. The 54
go
car.
Off the wall?
He is going to go...
off the wall! There we go, folks. There we go.
It's David living up to this, to the slogan. I'd also like to have a look at that Emma Dempsey incident if we can at some point. But as it stands, Ronan Doherty out in the lead, and this will be a big boost to his championship potential credentials. Let's have a look at this.
Yeah, this is the Emma Dempsey incident. Oh, is that Jamal? No, that's one of the VRA cars by the looks of it, as they all sort of bunch up. Down the inside, does Emma Dempsey get tagged? Oh, it was the Dara Halley rejoin. Emma moved to try avoid Dara. I forgot there was a car on the inside and then just got turned about into the wall. Disappointing. It was 3 into 1, doesn't really go. And yeah, stewards might take a look at it, but Emma really was the cause of her own demise there, I think.
Walsh for that. Like, Evan is just where he is, and then Emma obviously sees Dara rejoin and she just reacts to that. It's just one of those unfortunate ones. There isn't too much blame on anybody. Dara made a fairly safe rejoin given the circumstances, but Emma just moved across, and unfortunately I think you have to put that down as a racing incident. I think if she cleaned Evan Walsh out of it, you might have a look at it slightly differently, but unfortunately Emma, there's a little bit of a move there from Brandon McGahan in the foreground, but Peter Griffin survives to another day. Here is Conor Melia. I'm just going to ignore that. Here's Conor Melia with Campo Chukwu in front of him, and there's somebody going off wide in the background. That is Sean McGoldrick in the background, but he manages to hold on to it. It's a funny track, isn't it, Evan? Like, you can run this track so many times, but the way the corners are, they really... there's a lot of optical illusion there. You feel like you've so much more space than you actually do, and it's almost as if like the walls close in on you when you get these corners wrong.
Yeah, it's a great track for learning your craft. That's, I think, why iRacing pick it as a rookie circuit. But in terms of extracting lap time and maximising your pace, it's quite difficult to do that. It's a good track to be bog standard at. It's a difficult track to be quick at, and that is what these guys are trying to do.
Yeah, and they're really pushing. You can see they're pushing everything they can because there aren't that many overtaking opportunities. That is the one thing about this track. There's very few heavy braking corners. Everything's kind of a big, long, flowing circuit. As you say, Evan, it's a great way of learning how to carry your momentum through the corner. So you're kind of depending on somebody else to make a mistake, which as you get further up the grid, it gets less and less likely to happen. Now here is CJ O'Sullivan trying to make a move down the inside of Diarmuid Toomey, and it looks like CJ is going to get that done just about. Oh, and in behind him is David Ward, quite opportunistically, is the number 69 car, and he does get that move done. That's a great little move from David Ward, seeing the door open up and putting his foot firmly through it.
Yeah, podium last week for David Ward. Felt he had the pace and was looking forward to more. Okayama, his favourite track of the bunch, though. But lovely move from David. He's a good racer. That's what he's shown in the IndyCar series. And a nice move to get ahead.
Yeah, good stuff here. Now we're on board with Sean McClements, looking back at brother Dylan. So Sean's been out last week, but he's coming back with a bang. He has Dylan and Robbie Callahan behind him, followed by Brandon McGahan and then Campto Chukwu going slightly wide there. That seems to be where a lot of these guys are picking up their X points on the exit of that final corner, trying to give themselves as much as they can going into this. That's a big access. Jordan Kelly, Jordan and Paul Sheehan coming together. Jordan getting it all kinds of wrong up over the top of the hill, and Paul unfortunately arriving on the scene of an accident he didn't even realise he was going to be involved in, and unfortunately that's both of them out. Jordan Kelly, big story this week. Put it in your paper, Peter McCann. Jordan Kelly really struggling.
Yeah, this has not been good from Jordan Kelly, who usually when he misses a week he's right back on the pace. He's Jordan Kelly at the end of the day, a fabulous racer, but it's been very disappointing so far this evening from Jordan, and with such a big grid here and with the nature of the circuit, you can't really see him cutting back through it unless it's a drive of the ages in heat number 3, but that is very disappointing for Sheehan as well, who just drove straight into that one, as you can see, all making mistakes down the back. But Ronan's already running away with this one.
Yeah, Ronan's starting to find his groove with this car, and you know he's driving well if he's gapping the two McClements brothers. 7 tenths now the difference. Here is David Ward trying to make his way into the top 10. Of course, these guys all have their half an eye on the feature race, the final race, which is a reverse grid race. We didn't get to talk you through that, but you probably know the story at this stage, I'd imagine. Most of the people here have been watching for quite some time. As we're talking about that, let's get to some of the comments. Let's keep an eye on it. Johnny Hollywood says the acting in those Howden ads is peng. Evan,
brilliant advertising. This is doing my job for me.
Yeah, Osher, come here. You're the biggest personality they've had on that, I would say, ever. Evan Dalton, commentary and media, saying evening all. I didn't realize you had a burner account, Evan. Fair play to you.
I didn't either until I commented that, to be honest.
So you're playing this down, Evan. When's the agent? I'm waiting for the agent. Also, hello to Rob Parks.
I've tried, don't worry.
Rob Parks is in the chat, and he is watching, so you have to keep an eye on your P's and Q's. But yeah, Johnny says Dara's rejoin screwed Emma there. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I feel like, there's David Ward, and there's Dylan McClements. Ooh, tandem pirouetting from the two boys. Very nice, synchronized spinning from the two lads. Let's have a look at that. As we go back to, I'm going to go back to Johnny's comment in a second. This is Dylan's incident. Let's see what happens. Tries to go down the inside. Little bit speculative from the 88 car, which means he gets caught by the number 11. And then there's a little bit of a bonk, and Dylan goes spinning off. Okay, so that's Dylan's incident. And in the background, there was another car that went spinning off, who was David Ward.
David Ward, yeah.
So that we can have an opportunity to have a look at what David Ward did with our Gantry TV RTA replay. David Ward is on the inside, and is there a touch? Very slightly, not anything to write home about yet, as he tries to go down the inside of TJ O'Sullivan, and the traction just gives up on him, asks too much of the car to go from outside to in, and for the 69 car, unfortunately, he is indeed facing back to front. Sean McClements, 1.6 seconds now behind Ronan Doherty. He must have made a mistake, because you see a queue of cars behind him, including Robbie Callahan. And Robbie's gunning for another podium place here, Evan.
He is, and look at him going for the outside. Brandon McGahan is tucked into the slipstream of Sean McClements in front. And is he going to make it free abreast? That's usually dodgy territory. Opts not to, sits behind for the time being. Callahan has the long way around the outside of the big bend to turn number 1. And is he going to try keep a wheel in? He does. But Sean McClements boxes him out. Camto Choco is sitting pretty right behind. This will be the last lap of racing action at Lime Rock Park, and the best overtaking opportunities have kind of come and gone here for Robbie Callahan and for Brandon McGahan. Robbie on the podium anyways as Ronan Doherty flies his way through and up the hill into the uphill corner. Here comes McGahan once again. Is he going to lunge down the inside? No, he isn't. Still very close. One last overtaking opportunity into the diving turn for Robbie Callahan and Brandon McGahan, but it's not really going to be enough here. Sean McClements, good line for the final corner. It should see him home. It's going to be a drag race nonetheless. Ronan Doherty is going to take the win here, and is it going to be his teammate who comes home in second? It is Sean McClements at second on debut in the MX-5s. Then it is Robbie Callahan, Brandon McGahan and Camto Chukwa. They stay as they were.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, from Sean McClements in second down to down to Sean McGoldrick in seventh, less than a second separating that gaggle of cars. So fair play to Sean McClements, a superb defensive drive. It looked like he got a bit of a wobble going up and over the hill. I was afraid for him for a second, but he managed to hold on to it, and a great end to the race for the number 7 car, who gets right back at it on his MX-5 debut. So not too much carnage, Evan, overall, but certainly very few overtaking opportunities, which is going to make this second heat interesting. You have to back Ronan Doherty for this, given he finished 1.9 seconds ahead of his teammate in the opening race.
Yeah, that was a fabulous performance by Ronan Doherty. Just got away with it after Dara Halley made a mistake. Sean McClements comes home in second, Robbie Callahan in third, and it is Brandon McGahan, Camto Chukwa, Conor Mealy, Sean McGoldrick, Dara Halley, Peter McCann, CJ O'Sullivan. And it is Toomey, Walsh, Collier, Hutchings, Ward, McClements, Meredith, Dempsey, Duffy, Upson in 20th position. And then we have Doyle, Wheatley, Sweeney, Corcoran, Gandor, Prunty, Dempsey, Kelly, and Paul Sheehan rounds out the 29 driver order. So Doherty, McClements on the front row. Sean McClements got the better start of the two the last time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, Sean is a very good defensive driver as well, but whether he'll get the jump on Ronan Doherty, I'm not entirely sure. But it's set to be a superb one as we go racing again.
Here we go then, Ronan Doherty and Sean McClements on the front row. Who gets the better of the launches? It is the Polish, the second place man, who does get a bit better of a launch and gets up the gears quicker. It's tucked into the slipstream of his teammate in front. Conor Mealy looking for the move on Camto Chukwa down the inside, and Sean McGoldrick is looking for the spot as well on Dara Halley, who has been forced to the outside line once again. He's going to have to try go the long way about things. Doesn't quite work out as someone has gone skating their way across the grass. That is Gary Corcoran, who's lost the position as well. And that is a pink machine, David Prunty, I believe, who's also gone up. And Paul Sheehan knock on the rub of the green once again.
Yeah, 2 black flags on our screen. I'm not sure if they are actually black flags or not, but it looked like it was Phil Upson that had that incident. Oh! And he's taken out Nathan Sweeney, he's taken out Ollie Meredith, he's taken out a few other cars as well, but that's definitely a big incident. You can see it happening. Who's that Rusty's car in the background? That's the 35 car, is it? No, 30. Danny Dempsey, Ollie Meredith, and David Prunty taken out in that one. We're going to have to go back and have a look at that, but we go back to front for the moment as Ronan Doherty leads these guys out. No such instance for the Antrim man in the number 2 Team DDR car. He is running obviously 4 second place changes in a row. That's actually Ollie Meredith who gets it slightly down the inside, and then I don't know what happened to David Ward. He just kind of lost all traction, and then he slams into the 2 guys in front of him, which caused another pile up. Yeah, and Emma driving into that one, Emma Dempsey, unfortunately. So yes, that will be needed to be sent. Oh, that's a big contact. That's Diarmuid Toomey coming together with Dylan McClements, who is way down the pack. Dylan getting involved in something there. He is struggling big time as Simon Hutchings this time runs into the side of Diarmuid Toomey. His car's being used as a bit of a bumper car at the moment. He's going to need all of that Ting Tool sponsorship money to try and repair us. Peter McCann, unfortunately, we all know his relationship with sponsors. I needn't bring it up, but he's in the barrier. is the County Leishman. Let's see what happened to him. We are all at it with the replays this evening. Peter going into the final bend, goes wide, I suspect. He does, and it's a curb, and he's left, and he's right, and he takes out CJ O'Sullivan, but CJ managed to stay on track, which sends Peter into the barrier. He's like a man who's never driven a trailer before.
Yeah, CJ did very well there, I have to say. He got clattered by Peter McCann and did very, very well. Peter McCann into the Armco, unfortunately. We're on board with Conor Melia, who is in the slipstream of Camto Chukwa and the top three, who are a lot closer this time round, thankfully. So in our second heat of the evening, we should get a bit of a closer tussle. Conor braking very late. You can, of course, bump and rub in these Mazda MX-5s. It's not like an Indy car where everything is fragile carbon fibre. There is a little bit of rubbing and racing in these. Peter McCann going down the inside of Ross Wheatley. He's looking to make amends and get back up the order, get as close to that reverse grid as possible. Here is CJ O'Sullivan, the survivor of that collision, who's under pressure from Dara Halley. These two tend to find each other out on track quite a bit, and this is the battle for the reverse pole. If you wanted the reverse pole, you'd have to lose this fight, but of course it's 2 extra points for the position in front, and potentially so much more. Sean McGoldrick having a very strong time of things on the tail of Conor Melia.
Yeah, Melia was very close to Camto Chukwa, just we saw it before, so it's only a matter of time before these guys get together. Bump and rub? Sounds like the new bedroom collection in Howden's, your nearest Howden store. Right, Dylan McClements down the inside of CJ O'Sullivan, and he gets that move done. Does the 46/88 car. It really annoys me that he's running a number on the front of his bonnet that isn't his actual number. But Sean McGoldrick in 5th position. Now he's holding off Conor Melia. And there's another car in the background there. Is that that's somebody anyway? It's a lap car gone off in the background again. It is Phil Upson. And Phil, unfortunately, finding it very difficult indeed. Now, a nice battle developing here between Nathan Sweeney in the 72 and Gary Corcoran in the 22, and the two of them go side by side. Oh, and it's a big accident. That's a huge one, and I don't know if it's taken somebody else out in the. Oh, they've just about avoided it. Emma Dempsey once again arriving on the scene of an accident, and yeah, it's one of those things. You can always see that happening. Now back to the front, and Robbie Callan's getting in amongst it. He's trying to put Sean McClements under pressure. He's Camto Chukwa behind him, and these are very close, Evan. Ronan Doherty hasn't managed to establish the gap that he did in the first race, and he's been kept very honest by these guys behind.
He is indeed. Some absolute massive collisions here in heat number 2. I'd say Johnny Hollywood watching along at home is delighted he's not in the first response car, where he would have been put to some good use. Ronan's already in the race lead. Hasn't been able to break that toe. Most likely won't unless there is carnage behind. It's very, very difficult to do so. Here is Jordan Kelly fighting with Ross Wheatley. Kelly looking to break into the top 15, has broken into the top 15. He's now up to 14th spot. And then it is Kelly, Wheatley, and our resident, or our new YouTuber, I should say, Ken Doyle behind, replacing that man who has the vegetables in his name or something.
References there, but anyway, Jordan Kelly up 14 places, Evan.
Really?
He is absolutely flying. Oh, okay, I get it. Doesn't make it
that's right, lads, that's right.
Dylan McClements up 8 positions as well to 8, so there's a couple of big movers here in amongst those guys who you'd expect to be up the front. I'm really shocked by Jordan Kelly though, down in 14th place, and like, Jordan's normally one of these guys that's always up the front. Now, probably doesn't have time to practice in the way that he would hope, but Jordan Kelly, I'm being told, is racing on a... Is that right? Or is Ronan Hederman winding me up?
Ronan Hederman saying he could very potentially be, when he travels, he does race on controller. Hold on, I'm going to get on stat maps here, see if I can see where Jordan is, because if he's not in Ungrana, then he's probably racing on controller. Where is Jordan Kelly? Jordan Kelly is currently, not to reveal his location, is currently in Rathkeil, which I think is in Limerick, is it?
And that is certainly somewhere where you would not want to leave any electronics hanging around. I can tell you that much.
Actually, very dangerous how quick I found out where Jordan is there, by the way, so don't try that at home, kids.
Jordan, yeah, I'm sure Jordan is hearing the sounds of engines and explosions in Rathkeel without ever having to plug into iRacing. Right, let's have a look at the replay. This is Gary Corcoran once again getting involved with Mr. Off the Wall. Let's see what happens here between these two. Gary, does he do it all by himself? He does. He spins around like a record baby and almost cleans out. Ah, he does clean out. That's Sean McGoldrick. Oh no, Gary Corcoran. That's a big accident, and he's a lot of the front runners have managed to avoid him, but unfortunately for Sean McGoldrick, who's been running a great race, he falls foul of an accident in front of him. And yeah, I mean, look, there's nothing you can do there if you're Gary. You spun, he's held the brakes, he's tried to stay where he is. Yeah, there's nothing more you could do. Just unfortunately, these things happen. Reminds me a bit of the Nürburgring 24 last year with the Porsche that came around the hidden corner and slapped straight into a stricken, I think it was a Porsche Cup car, I think was stricken, and yeah, there's just nothing you can do. Right, Ronan Darley now leads Camto Chukwa, who is the big beneficiary of all that madness. He's up 3 places into second place.
He is. Camto Chukwa in second, getting ahead of Sean McClemens. It's currently Darty Chukwa, McClemens, Callahan, Melia, Halley, McClemens, Walsh, O'Sullivan and Toomey. Remember, Conor Melia leading the championship coming into tonight. So he's fighting for a little bit more than just the race win. Let's have a look at this replay then. This is what happened. This is Camto. So Camto was down in 4th actually. And that is... it was through the collision. So Sean McGoldrick was actually lapping Gary Corcoran. And that is very opportunistic from Camto. That is a move of experience. And that is Camto up to second place.
Yeah, it's great stuff. That's exactly as I suspected. Camto making the most of others' misfortune, which is what you have to do in this game. As Dara Halley managed to recover and obviously involved in that second lap incident in the opening race, just about second lap incident in the opening race, but he's recovered now to be in 5th position behind Conor Melia, so is going to have to try and get a go off him to see if he can finish in the top 5. Oh, that's Sean McClemens running quite wide there. That might open the door for Camto once again. Let's see if Chukwa can get down the inside. He's reappeared on screen. He's gone down the inside. He's not going to make that work, and that's going to open up the door for Robbie Callahan now. Try and make a move. Speaking of Dara Halley, he has got past Conor Melia. He's into 5th position, and he is absolutely flying. We know single lap pace is great, Dara, but it's just about whether he can keep that consistency. Let's have a look at who is the best of the runners. Paul Sheehan up 13 places. Jordan Kelly up 14 places. And Dylan McClemens now up 9 places into 7th. Evan Walsh will be our feature race leader or our pole sitter if things stay the way they are, but 5 minutes or just under 5 minutes to go. Plenty can still happen, Mr. Howden himself.
Yeah, plenty can still happen, as we're only 2/3 through this one. Still loads of laps to go. It's how many laps have we even done? We've done over 10 now. Well, we're about to complete our 11th lap around Lime Rock. Camto Chukwa is defending from Robbie Callahan. Oh, Callahan very late on the brakes, a lot later than Chukwa, and he's able to carry that momentum through the corner. It's interesting to see the different lines around here. You'd expect, because it's a rookie track, that everyone would have the perfect line nailed, but not the case, and that's kind of always the case in Mazdas. Dylan McClemens looking to try and get past Conor Melia. Contact between the two. Melia checks up the champion and gets the better run, exiting the right-hander onto the no-name straight. Dylan McClemens is going to have to get a little bit more creative.
Very, very interesting. Coming back to some of your comments, Jamal Gandor joins us, Mr. Durex himself. As I said, he needs protection. He didn't get it this evening. He says this track is a complete joke, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not sure. Would everyone agree with you, Jamal? Because I think it's a track that's quite enjoyed across the circuit, but yeah. And Kevin Joyce says Conor Melia going for the retro Dodge stripes. Indeed, he is. Still not the best livery on track though, but I'm sure Ronan Hederman won't show what I believe to be the best livery on track, lest he get PTSD. Now, here is Camto. He's in 3rd position. He's dropped a place to Sean McClemens, who's reclaimed that 2nd position. Must have been a mistake from Camto in that one, and now he's Robbie Callahan all across his backside. So it's pretty much as you were, apart from that change. Doherty now has a 1 second advantage. He's starting to slowly gain ahead of Sean McClemens. He started to find his groove a little bit more, not having to look in his mirrors as much. And then it's Sean McClemens, Campto Chukwe, and Robbie Callahan. Now, can Callahan get a move done on Campto? He's going to try to. He's going to kiss the curb on the inside. He's going to get it done. That's good work from Campto Chukwe, as it looks like Ken Doyle is the latest man to be caught up in the lap traffic. Hopefully Ken can keep himself clean and allow these guys to get past.
Yeah, as that's how Robbie Callahan got that move done. Sean and Campto just had to check up a little bit, and because of David Prunty, and that allowed Robbie Callahan through. Dara Halley now up to 4th as well, so Campto went from 5th to 2nd earlier. He's now back down to 5th. It's a total seesaw for Campto Chukwe. Unfortunately drops right down the order. Here's Jordan Kelly finally getting past Ross Wheatley, and Ross Wheatley working together with the Donegal man, and he's just keeping with him and maybe using him as slipstream to help cut through the field. But Doherty, McClemens, Callahan, Halley, Chukwe, your top 5, and Ronan Doherty has taken the gap with the lapped cars and has managed to pull away, and bar a mistake, he's going to be your winner.
Yeah, and very well deserving as well. So obviously today being the day that a certain woman announced her engagement, but it looks like Ronan is our Swiftie for this evening, because he is on course to take both race 1 and race 2. But the battle for second, not so clear. We're very similar. It's a bit like Groundhog Day here, as Sean McClemens is holding up a train, and that is a big accident in front. That is, I think, Sheehan. Oh, that's caused Robbie Callahan to get the tail all out of sorts, and he's going to go off into the Armco on the right-hand side. No, he manages to avoid the barrier, but unfortunately, I think that was Paul Sheehan who got that wrong. I don't want to misname him, but he's in the other white Mazda, and he managed to get it wrong in the same place where we saw another lapped car get it wrong earlier on, and unfortunately Sean McGoldrick was the one who got caught up in it last time. This time it is Robbie Callahan who loses out, and now it looks like Callahan's going to be our reverse grid pole sitter. Yeah,
it is, and Callahan, although having that spin and losing out on points, it might work out for him in the long run, but we will wait and see. Dylan McClemens, a beneficiary of that. He's now ahead of Campto, and one more spot, and he could get ahead of Dara Halley. And I'd also like to say, if he does get ahead of Dara Halley, Johnny Hollywood called this one about 15 minutes ago, saying Dylan could end up on the podium here. This is a great battle between Dermot Toomey and CJ O'Sullivan. Dermot Toomey, a man of very, very, very recent success, winning the British 24-hour karting race at Teesside with Apex Twin Racing in the higher class. A big success there for Dermot, but not as successful getting past CJ O'Sullivan. Here comes Taylor, Ronan, Swift, Doherty, or whatever Kevin called him, through the final corners now. He's going to take a dominant win here. Sean McClemens comes home in 2nd, and look at Dara Halley pushing for the final corner to come home in 3rd and get away from Dylan McClemens, who's being slipstreamed here by Campto, but Campto not going to be able to get ahead.
No, the slipstream here isn't quite as powerful as we had initially anticipated, as Dermot now trying to get the move on CJ, but again, CJ just about pipping him to the line. And Dylan isn't going to quite get it done, but a great race from Dylan nonetheless. He's up 12 positions, which is no mean feat, especially when you see some of the carnage that's happened around him. But he's the big beneficiary. Jordan Kelly, the man you see here, he's up 15 places himself, up into 13th position, and has an outside chance for getting involved. Unfortunately, some of our lap traffic ended up making themselves a little bit more of the protagonists than I think they'd hoped to, and having a bigger effect on the race. But overall, I think the racing gods give it and the racing gods take it away. But for Ronan Doherty, he's taken away 2 wins.
He has 2 from 2, and that's usually what he likes to do, but it's the 3rd heat that escapes him sometimes. Went 2 from 2 last week, wasn't able to wrap it up at Okayama. Conor Melia took the race win. But here is your results. Ronan Doherty, top of the bunch. Sean McClemens in 2nd, and Dara Halley in 3rd. And it was Dylan McClemens, Campto Chukwe, Conor Melia, Evan Walsh, Robbie Callahan, CJ O'Sullivan, Dermot Toomey, Simon Hutchings, Peter McCann, Jordan Kelly, Ross Wheatley, Ronan Duffy, Paul Sheehan, Dave Collier, Emma Dempsey, Sean McGoldrick, and Nathan Sweeney in 20th position. And then outside the top 20 behind Nathan Sweeney was David Prunty, Phil Upson, Ollie Meredith, Gary Corcoran, Ken Doyle, Danny Dempsey, Jamal Gandor, Brandon McGaughan, and David Wardy Ward down in 29th place. Let's hear from your race winner of the first 2 heats, Ronan Doherty. Ronan, congratulations, 2 from 2. driving like you were in a getaway car, bolting away as soon as you broke the gap.
Yeah, look, I was trying to help the cousins out there, giving them a bit of a tow, and then when you just kind of get your chance, you try and stay consistent. But yeah, I mean, breaking the toes very very difficult around here. I mean, you're in fourth gear for such a long amount of time, and it's so you kind of have to get lucky too.
Yeah, these Mazdas, a very different style of racing to the Indy cars. What is your mastermind going to produce for Heat 3 then?
Hopefully not like last week. I downshifted twice accidentally instead of once, and locked my diff up and spun off into Simon. But yeah, look, just to try and stay in the fight. It's going to be a long race. The front tires are going to be absolutely dead at the end, so I'm looking forward to it.
And then coming from 8th, it's not the easiest track to overtake on, despite the powerful slipstream. You know all too well about Heat 3's going begging. Are you going to do anything different?
Not really. Just kind of drive how I always drive and hope that the chips fall my way. I've got Sean and Dylan right there with me essentially, so hopefully we can work together to push through and lose as little time as possible.
Well, Ronan, hopefully you can make it 5 wins in a fortnight. Best of luck for Heat 3.
Thanks.
And now, second place with Kevin, Sean McClements.
Sean McClements, nice to have you back. Missed the first week, but you're back with a bang. 2 second place finishes behind your cousin. Happy enough?
Yeah, can't really complain too much now, to be honest. Because the first time even driving the cars was about 8 o'clock, half 8. So take him in. The last, obviously, was racing last week. Done a bit of testing yesterday and stuff. And my first time driving, like maybe get half an hour practice to get two seconds from it. I'm happy enough, yeah.
But you surely must have raced this combo before, right? In the rookies?
Yeah, like 2 or 3 years ago, like, but sure, I haven't looked anywhere near it since.
Right, tell me about the week that's been. Any highlights for us on or off the track?
Yeah, there's a few
Say nothing.
announcements coming up, like, so look, if you want to follow Sean McClements Racing on Facebook, Instagram, get following. The news will be announced hopefully next week.
All right, looking forward to it. And obviously, a day of big news. Are you delighted for Taylor Swift? And are you keeping up with the news with her new engagement?
Yeah, but that was actually the news I was going to drop. Like, I got invited to the wedding, Kevin. I'm over the moon.
We'd have to live stream that. Can you imagine you at Taylor Swift's wedding? My God, the debauchery. Right.
Corn
Sean,
from tree.
it's just Taylor trying to get photographs and Sean diffing outside the front. Sean, congratulations, 2 second place finishes. Best of luck in the final race. Thanks as always.
Brilliant, thanks, Kevin.
Always keeps us entertained. Sean McClements. Finally, Dara Halley joins Evan.
Yeah, Travis Kelce and Sean McClements, 2 sports stars whose careers both haven't yet been ruined by a blonde. So we'll see how that goes. Dara Halley, congratulations. Second RTA podium. You didn't have to wait for it as long as the first one, though.
Yeah. Thank God. Well, I can't really tell you anything that happened that race, to be quite honest with you.
Can you tell us what your plan maybe is for heat number 3? Because we don't really know what's going to happen either.
I'll just sit behind the pack probably and just try to make position, because I had to get very aggressive in that race to make up positions after the mistakes. So I just kind of want to cool down for this race and get some solid points.
We didn't get a chance to speak to you in round number 1. How are you finding these Mazdas compared to the Indy cars?
I way prefer the Mazdas to the fucking Indy cars. I didn't enjoy them at all, to be honest. Any little bit of contact and you just lose a front wing or a rear wing and then your race is gone. Like.
Well, Dara, best of luck for heat number 3 and hopefully all going well. We'll get to speak to you after.
Thank you.
So that was Ronan Doherty, Sean McClements and Dara Halley. I hope you don't mind, Kevin, but I kind of took that Taylor Swift thing and ran with it when it came to Ronan Doherty. Sean's interview then, just like every Sean interview, went a bit wayward and it wasn't even my fault this time.
Sean's my favorite of the 3. I'll be totally honest with you. He's such an entertaining young fella. I mean, if he ever if his racing career ever did kick off, he would be just the most unbelievable personality to have on a proper racing grid. He'd just be the funniest man ever. It's the closest thing we have to Jimmy Bullard, and I mean that in the absolute best sense possible.
You should go drinking with him. It's very, very funny. He
I-
lights
I-
up my life an awful
Cer-
lot.
I certainly plan to next year, if at all possible. You can keep your eyes
Sorry, stay
posted for
away from
that.
alcohol, kids.
But not from Howden's, who offer superb offers, and you
Oh,
can head down
Jesus
to their
Christ
brand new
almighty.
Nace warehouse. Right, Evan. Now, can you
I don't work in the
can you
Nace one.
spare
Don't go
us-
to Nace.
can you spare, just don't go to Nace. Full stop. Can you spare us some time from your moonlighting to give us the grid for the final race, please?
Yeah, I will. Oh, well, are we even going to have time? It's Robbie Callahan on pole, and it's Walsh, Melia, Chuckaway, McClemens, Halley, McClemens, Doherty. Your reverse top 8, Robbie Callahan and Evan Walsh get us underway as we go racing for the final time here in Lime Rock. Brilliant start, Conor Melia. Evan Walsh immediately has to defend, and Walsh is going to be done around the outside here by Conor Melia. Is he? No. Evan Walsh just about has enough on the apex of the corner. Melia not going to be able to work it around the outside here. Campto Chuckaway in 4th. Good spots gained already for Simon Hutchings, for Dave Collier, who are already making some moves as they're 3, 4, 5 wide back, but no swaps outside in the top 5. Sean McClemens gets ahead of Dara Halley.
Yeah, super aggressive there from Evan Walsh, cutting across Conor Melia, knowing that he had the better start, and now it's up to Walsh to see if he can keep up with Robbie Callahan, because Conor Melia certainly has the pace over Walsh if our qualifying is anything to go by. Dave Collier down in 16th position, he's up 1 place, and in front of him is Emma Dempsey, she's up 3, but the man we spoke to earlier on, Dara Halley, in 6th place, but he is starting to be gapped by Dylan McClemens in front, so that's going to be something else we have to look at. Ronan Doherty's actually dropped a place here from CJ O'Sullivan at the race start, so a little bit of pressure on the number 2 to try and get back inside. He has Simon Hutchings going for a move down the inside, and they almost went 3 abreast there as Simon Hutchings goes down the inside of Peter McCann, and the two of those know each other exceptionally well as Ronan Doherty gets back 8th position from CJ O'Sullivan. He's back where he started, so the top 8, not a single change in amongst the top 9 as a matter of fact. Robbie Callahan starting to eke out a little bit of a gap at Evan Walsh. It's going to be on Walsh now to see if he can try and arrest back that gap, because otherwise he's going to have Melia and Chukwara being very, very aggressive.
Yeah, it's very argy-bargy throughout the field, even for some of the minor placings. Toomey, Hutchings, Duffy, Wheatley, all going at it. But it is top 2 in the championship. 2nd and 3rd, as someone is way offline there in the background. They've got to be very careful rejoining the racing flow, and I think all is okay for the time being. Here's your race leader, Robbie Callan, who weaves his way down the straight in the Golf livery. Evan Walsh in 2nd, Conor Melia in 3rd. As they were, top 8 remaining as they were. So as Ronan Doherty suspected, not the easiest grid to cut through. That is Emma Dempsey getting ahead of Ross Wheatley. Emma off her best ever week in RTA, looking to get a strong result.
The thing about this Lime Rock track is that it's very flowing. It's all about trying to keep your minimum corner speed up as Evan Walsh gets a bit of a bump from Conor Melia. It's going to be very, very tight now to see whether Melia tries to move down the inside. He's going to hold for the moment is Conor Melia, but it's only a matter of time before he starts to put pressure on that Munster-Leinster battle, and it is Leinster who end up winning that one for the moment as Melia gets ahead, but he does have it's Evan Walsh has a slowdown, actually, we're being informed, so that's going to have a big impact on the Clonmels man's ability to try and hold on to any of these places. He pulls out to the left, which opens up a 3 wide situation. Evan Walsh getting tight to Captain Chuckway. They're going 2 or 3 wide in, and it's going to be Walsh who has the inside and inevitable contact between Captain Chuckway and Dylan McClemens. Now McClemens is Ronan Doherty who slipped past him, and McClemens is the big loser there, and once again Dylan McClemens looking at the back bumper of his cousin who started out behind him. That was an inevitable contact, and I think Dylan McClemens going 3 wide on the outside into that corner was never going to work out for him.
Yeah, great side draft from Evan Walsh. Very clever there to get the straight line speed back after serving that slowdown. Unfortunately lost out in the Leinster-Munster battle. Conor Melia is up in front as Simon Hutchings runs a little bit wide there, but he has actually recovered. Okay, there's Dara Halley and CJ O'Sullivan, and there goes Nathan Sweeney barreling down the inside, or McGoldrick I should say. Sells him a dream, is able to get back in front. And McGoldrick, mounts the curb on the inside, but should be okay. These Mazdas can handle a lot more than that. There's a move down the inside. Ronan Doherty getting past Campto Chukowa. There goes CJ O'Sullivan ahead of Peter McCann, but he spun round and McCann's followed him to the scene of the accident. And someone spun in front. Contact made between the two. Hutchings involved.
Yeah, Hutchins involved, Darren Halley involved in that as well. Unfortunately, he said he wanted to be less aggressive, but sometimes that can work against you as well. It's like in the game of hurling. If you don't get stuck in, sometimes you're the one who gets hurt. And unfortunately for CJ O'Sullivan, he came and went, and he was out of here. Thank you very much. As Campto and Sean McClements continue their battle, and McClements is in there. Campto just about pulls out of it. I thought he might spin McClements across his front bonnet, but good work there from Sean McClements. Sean sold Campto a dream, but Evan will only sell you a kitchen.
It wasn't even Sean on Campto. It was, for God's sake. Anyways, great deals on cabinets, though, all the same, folks. Like, if you're around the area, you may as well. There goes Campto down the inside on Sean McClements. Nathan Sweetie not able to get past Sean McGoldrick as they're all lying astern and rather calm for the first time in 5 minutes. It is Robbie Callaghan who leads Conor Melia, Evan Walsh, Ronan Doherty of 4 positions to 4th. Then it is Dylan McClements in 5th, Sean McClements 6th, then Campto Chukowa, Dermot Toomey, Emma Dempsey up 9 spots, Ronan Duffy up 5 to 10th, looking for his first ever top 10 in RTA. Robbie Callaghan is threading the needle through that corner every single lap.
He's absolutely flying as Callahan, and he's absolutely supremely confident in this MX-5 underneath him. And behind him, Conor Melia has a really nice pocket of breathing space. He has Robbie Callahan in front of him, who he's slowly closing in on. But behind him, there's a good gap between himself and Evan Walsh in 3rd position. Evan, who started off in 2nd, trying to cut off Robbie Callahan, but couldn't get down ultimately. Tried to cut off Conor Melia, should I say, but ultimately couldn't get that done. Now there's more contact in the front, and that's the number 15 car. And that's Ronan Doherty. That is very agricultural. The 15 car is, who's number 15? I'm going to go down through the order because I think it's Paul Sheehan again. Is it Sheehan again involved with the front runners? It is Paul Sheehan again involved with the front runners. Going to have a look at that, but Sheehan unfortunately slow around the outside, and arriving on the scene was Ronan Doherty and another one of the front runners, and unfortunately Ronan Doherty is getting hip checked into Sheehan.
Yeah, Ronan knew Sheehan was trouble, rejoins the circuit. He's just going to have to shake that one off and try to get back into it. Way down the order now to win. Well outside his wildest dreams. Look at this, my word, why are we going 3 wide again? Campto Chukowa, Sean McClements, is Dermot Toomey going to get involved? He isn't. Chukowa down the inside, puff of smoke off the circuit goes McClements, runs straight on. That's the worst position to end up in. Any chance of a top 10 is now gone, and 2 Team DDR targets have been neutralised in the last 2 laps.
Sean McClements had damage there going into it to see that puff of smoke, because when you look at Dylan McClements' that's not how that car looked like when the race started. I think it's fair to say. I'm not a detective by any means, but that definitely is not what an MX-5 should look like. So I'm not sure if there was contact there. Campto trying to move up over the top of the hill, and he's going to get a ton. Is Chukowa. And certainly whatever wheel he has in his possession is working for him now, because he's up into 4th position and gunning down Evan Walsh.
Yeah, he is. Robbie Gallen and Conor Melia are looking to bolt away from this, and Evan Walsh as well. Sorry, he's got a bit of a gap. Look at Dylan McClements' bonnet. All 3 Team DDR cars suffering fate, similar fates. Is that going to go okay? Oh, just about. Emma Dempsey just about avoiding Dave Collier, and is going to be able to rejoin here not too far down the order. All 3 of them have got away with that one.
Oh, Emma almost sent into the manosphere there by Dave Collier, who arrived on the scene. You could just see it happening. You could see it happening before it even happened. It's one of those clairvoyant situations where, like Emma's down the inside and Dylan isn't giving up his spot, and they're going into that corner. And when was the last time we saw a 3 wide situation work out into the opening corner here? And Dylan Clements has been involved in most of them. Let's have a look here. Emma very clearly had the slipstream, and she had the overpass on Dylan McClements, and Emma, I think that's on Emma. Emma comes across the front of Dylan McClements, and I think that's just a little bit of... it's the sort of mistake that I would make, and I mean that in the most kindest way. It's just such a simple mistake where you think you're running down the line of the track, but actually when you look back on the replay, you realize that you're just slightly off, and that slightly off is enough to cause an accident.
Yeah, it's not the first time Emma's made that mistake tonight either, unfortunately. It's just an error, but she's got away with it for the most part, and so has Dylan and Dermot. Now, Dylan's car is wounded anyways, but they've all relatively got away with it. Emma's still inside the top 10, could track for a good result here, still over half the race to go. Dylan McClemens has a job on his hands to try bring this one home with the bonnet open. Certainly Mazda's MX-5's Miata's not known for their aerodynamics. Dylan is not helping that argument for the time being. Dermot Toomey under pressure from Dave Collier. This is for his 6th position, and Collier in the Jamal Gandor livery. By the looks of things, has dived down the inside. Toomey way out of line, and he's going to skate his way around the outside and just about keep it on the black stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say Dylan McClemens sporting the extreme cooling variant of the Miata, but a good move there from Dave Collier in the meantime. CJ O'Sullivan has dropped way down meanwhile. He's down 6 places, down to 15th, unfortunately, just dropped another one. And speaking of dropping places, here is Ronan Dardy getting involved with Mr. Protection. And let's see if we can keep this relatively safe. Yeah, it's all very safe activity there between Ronan Dardy and Jamal Gandor.
Because Durex is a contraceptive, if you didn't know, folks. That's the joke Kevin's got at. Sorry,
Yeah,
Todd, you
well,
get out of the hole.
It's not, it wasn't so much the contraceptive.
I just let you on again. Sorry.
Anyway, Dave Collier going to go around the outside this time, and unfortunately finds himself in no man's land, getting that all kinds of wrong, with the door now for the likes of Sean McGoldrick and Dermot Toomey to slip through. Back to the front now, Robbie Callahan and Conor Mealy. That gap is closing all the time, but I don't think Conor Mealy's any great rush to put pressure on the number 11 car. We still have 9 minutes left of this race, and if Mealy could just manage the gap, he's certainly faster than Evan Walsh, having no problem there, and Evan has another 5 seconds behind him to capture Chukwa. So the front of the field very spread out. So for Conor Mealy, it's just a case of staying on the back of Robbie Callahan, keeping him honest, and let's see what happens in the last couple of laps.
Oh, the only thing for Conor Mealy is Peter McCann did something similar last week, and it didn't leave him enough time to go for the move. Conor looking for a second heat-free win in a row here. He only has 2 wins in RTA in the last 5 seasons, so if he could go back-to-back in consecutive weeks, that will be something else. Here comes Dave Collier diving down the inside, as I think we have an episode of The Walking Dead here. All these cars seem to have some sort of damage, but they're all still battling it out here. This is great stuff, and down the inside goes Dermot Toomey once again on Dave Collier, but Collier just with the overspeed and is able to stay in front. So no, he isn't. That's Toomey, and now there's definitely more damage. Now there's a lot more damage. There is damage all over the track. And there's another spin round for good measure. That's Ronan Duffy, who's flicked back in front of the circuit. And this has been a DDR disaster.
This is Dylan McClemens' wrecking ball season. First of all, smashing into the back, and then arriving about 3 seconds too late with Emma
Taylor
Dempsey.
Swift. He's Miley Cyrus.
I was gonna say, Emma Dempsey was Emma just looking out the window or something? Because she arrived about 3 seconds into that accident and absolutely horsed it to the back of Dylan McClemens. It's like something you'd see on the M50. People just not really paying attention and smashing into the back of each other. Obviously, Dave Collier trying to move, and it didn't quite work out, which obviously invited the cars in behind him. But you still have to be able to press the brake pedal. You can't just smash through the back of somebody. And yeah, even if Dylan's car is about 2 feet shorter than it was when it began, he still didn't have enough clearance to make that. So not great stuff from any of those drivers. Now Dave Collier and Emma Dempsey again getting involved. Emma pushing Dave out wide. And there's a bit of tension here, I think it's fair to say. I suspect the stewards are going to be involved in this, but very messy. Can we have a look back at that again, please, Director Ronan? As Dave's so annoyed, he's using his windscreen wipers. I think he meant to use his flashers, and he's pressed the wrong button.
Could well be. He's going to go for the outside here on Emma Dempsey, but Dempsey with a lot of straight line speed. I know these cars are equal, but Emma Dempsey is like a rocket ship down that straight every time. Collier being forced to the outside here. Emma Dempsey going to stay in front despite getting driver of the day last week. Emma only got 7th in Heat 3, so currently tracking even better. Let's have a look then at this one. So Collier is in front. He checks up a little bit. It clips Toomey into the back of him, and then yeah, it was actually Ronan Duffy who clattered into the back of them. Emmett Dempsey was able to get through with Dave Collier.
See, I take it all back. That's nothing on Emma. That's actually totally Ronan Duffy's fault, which makes me feel less bad about the fact that he got turned into the barrier then by Dylan McClemens, because Ronan just didn't put on the brakes at all. I don't know, did he think he was going to drive straight through it or something? I'm not entirely sure. But anyway, so Emma Dempsey actually survives, which is why her car is as pristine as it is, and it's why she's up into 6th position. So I take it all back. Now look at these two lads. Conor Mealy has been slowly but surely closing the gap on Robbie Callahan, and now he has all over the back of him. And Robbie has quite a few laps to survive here, Evan.
He does. He needs to survive if he's looking for a second win at Lime Rock here in RTA. It's 2 of the classic liveries on the grid. Not as classic as Brandon McGaughlin's, of course, who has been nowhere in. Is Brandon even running? I can't see him on the order. No, Brandon not even running, unfortunately. But 2 of the classic liveries, Robbie Callahan, Conor Amelia. Good few laps to contend with in this one. We've done 16 now, so there's another 4 or 5 for Robbie Callahan to survive. And Conor will know what went wrong for Peter last week. Didn't leave himself enough time to pull off the move. I don't think he's going to make that same mistake.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he's going to try and get it done as soon as he can. That's the car going off in the background. That is the number 72 of Nathan Sweeney, who manages to hold on to it. Nathan getting a good 8th position finish. Yeah, it's going to be, it's all just very spread out now at this point. We had a lot of the chaos before. With this man not involved in the picture, unfortunately, there won't be any great heroics at the end. Dylan McClemens certainly had the pace, but he's essentially turned into automobile wrecking ball in this final race. Evan Walsh is, you see the man behind him, that's Dara Halley, but Dara's actually a lapped car, so Evan has 3.2 seconds to the next car behind him. That's Canto Chukwe, and you can see how far down the road Conor Mealy is ahead of him. So it's all very spread out.
Yeah, Dara Halley, from fighting for that legitimate 3rd position to being lapped down to it, it's not been the strongest end to the evening for Dara Halley. Here's our top 2 once again, and Conor Mealy had a look down the inside, nothing more than a sniff, but had a look, and Robbie Callahan is going to have to get the defensive moves out here. Turn 1, your best over, take an opportunity, or it doesn't even need to wait until then. Conor Mealy senses the opportunity in towards the right-hander, and if these 2 made contact, it would be disastrous. But Robbie Callahan swings it round the outside. The Kildareman stays in the race lead.
Yeah, it's superb stuff from Callahan, because he definitely got a bit squirrely on the exit of the corner going into that uphill bend, and I thought for all the world that Conor Mealy had that done and dusted, but fair play to Callahan, keeping it clean, giving Conor Mealy plenty of space, and making the move round the outside. So he holds on to 1st position, and he's being made to fight very hard for this. But Evan, the harder you fight, the more likely you are to make those little mistakes.
Yes, and these 2 don't want a mistake, because no matter what position they end up in, it's going to be 1st or 2nd once it's kept clean. That's big points in this championship, especially for Conor Mealy, who's going to set his sights on a championship ambition definitely after 2 weeks. Doesn't want to make contact. Here's Emmett Dempsey and Dave Collier seeing the orange, white and black. She might be getting some nightmares, but is going to stay on the outside here of Collier. Dave Collier just about stays in front. Very clean racing between these 2 since that incident. Nathan Sweeney behind is catching up as well. It's been a stellar showing from Nathan Sweeney here in this 3rd heat. He's up 12 positions. Ollie Meredith as well is up 14, and Ollie Meredith is a little bit of a Heat 3 dark horse. Finished 9th last week from near the back, is currently in 9th now.
Yeah, he certainly enjoys all the carnage that's around him. I mean, we have from Sean McClemens 22nd down to 29th, 7 or 8 cars in the pits at the moment. So there's been a lot of carnage. There's been a lot of what's the word I'm looking for, excess damage in this race. So it's an opportunity for these guys to try and make up some of those places. This is a nice battle now between Captain Chukre and Sean McGoldrick. Sean unfortunately caught up in some instance in the first 2 races, which made his running very difficult. But if you look at the 5th down to 9th, Sean McGoldrick up 14 places, Dave Collier up 11 places, as is Emma Dempsey, Nathan Sweeney up 12 places, and Ollie Meredith up 14 places. So some massive movers to finish in the top 9 here. Ken Doyle up 10 places to 15. So there's been some big moves amongst this grid that have been taking advantage of the likes of Dylan McClements and the likes of Ronan Doherty getting caught up in those instances.
Yeah, the big names have been caught up, and here we go then. Last lap of this race. Robbie Callahan and Conor Amelia, they are, where are they coming round now? I think they're just coming down towards the middle sector, and Robbie Callahan is away with this one now. Conor Amelia not able to put the pressure on him, and Robbie Callahan, with the bit between his teeth here, might be on for another RTA victory. Last time he did a full campaign was the British Touring Car Championships. Wasn't able to take a win there, took 4 podiums and was voted most improved. He hasn't won since the Formula V's, which was when he won the last time here at Lime Rock Park, but he's putting 10th upon 10th of a second on Conor Amelia here through the final sector, and Robbie Callahan in the number 11 in the final corner, and crown himself an RTA winner once again across the line in the Gulf livery. Callahan sees it home. Conor Amelia comes home in second. Evan Walsh in third. Every other place still up for grabs. Dempsey and Collier fight their way through.
Dempsey and Collier find their way through. Sean McGoldrick finishes in the top 5. That's a great result for him, as we see Nathan Sweeney with a very late move there on Ollie Meredith. They come side to side. Sweeney tries to get behind to try and get the toe, and trying to break it as Collier finishes ahead of Dempsey. Meredith finishes ahead of Sweeney, and Ronan Doherty comes home to take 10th place. Can David Prunty get in ahead of Dylan McClements? Yes, he can. As it looks like Nathan Sweeney having an accident after the line there. Plenty of drag racing down the line here as CJ O'Sullivan finishes just ahead of Gary Corcoran, followed by Ross Wheatley and Phil Upson, the final man on track. Yeah, a lot of big names there losing out big time in this race. But Robbie Callahan, Evan, what a superb drive from him to hold on to that race win. He was pushed all the way by our championship leader coming into this evening, Conor Amelia, but he has done exceptionally well to win that race.
Cracking job by Robbie Callahan, who comes home and takes the victory. Conor Amelia in second, Evan Walsh in third, then it is Camto Chukwuka in fourth, Sean McGoldrick in fifth, Dave Collier ahead of Emma Dempsey. Ollie Meredith just pips Nathan Sweeney for 8th, and then it is Sweeney himself in 9th. Ronan Doherty in 10th, David Prunty in 11th, ahead of Dylan McClements, Ken Doyle, Peter McCann, Ronan Duffy, Jordan Kelly, Jamal Gandor, CJ O'Sullivan, Gary Corcoran, and Ross Wheatley in 20th position. Then it was Phil Upson, Sean McClements, Paul Sheehan, Dermot Toomey, Dara Halley, Simon Hutchings, Brandon McGohan, Danny Dempsey, and David Ward. Let's hear from our race winner then, Robbie Callahan.
For that last race. Oh.
Sorry, Robbie, we're interrupting the conversation. Congratulations, it is a 4th RTA win for you and another win upon our return here to Lime Rock. This circuit seems to treat you well.
Yeah, I got a bit lucky the first time in the V's. They all killed each other in the first corner. I was like 6th and went first, but it feels better to win it on my own this time.
In terms of that Heat 3 then, you started on the pole. We knew Slipstream was going to be strong, but no matter what Conor threw at you, you were able to stay in front. Talk us through what was going through your mind the last few laps.
So at the start, I just tried to get away and go as fast as I could. I did like 4 of my PBs in a row, but I went too early. I cooked my tyres, so then Conor started catching me at the end, and I was struggling. I think I was lapping like 2 seconds off the pace, just trying to keep him behind. My tyres were gone.
You've been a bit of a star of the show so far in the Mazdas. Is a championship something that's in your long-term ambitions, or is it going to be a race-by-race situation?
Race by race. Last week didn't go too well, so I don't know. I'll see in the next few races how it goes.
Yeah, speaking of those next few races, is there anything that stands out to you as one that you might do well at?
Let me have a look at the calendar. One sec.
No bother.
Donington. I like Donington. Donington's one of my favourite tracks in a GT3, so maybe might be able to do well. I've never driven Mid-Ohio, so don't know about that, and I'm not great at Silverstone, but we'll see.
So hopefully a lot of success for yourself, Robbie, and a fabulous performance tonight once again. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So great to hear from our race winner and second place, Conor Elia with Kevin now.
Connor, thanks for joining us. I thought the door might have opened up for you there, the second to last lap coming up and over the hill, but I think fair play to Robbie for managing to keep you off.
Yeah, the tires, I think we both wrecked our fronts. So going through that uphill section side by side was asking for death if we didn't both take it easy, and I think we both did. But yeah, that second to last lap, I just in the second to last corner, I ran wide in the exit and lost about 2 or 3 tenths. But that kind of dropped me too far back to do that on the last lap. Robbie drove really well, in fairness. Like there was a few times where I thought I had him, and he just drove really well defensively. But I think, yeah, for how the race went for some of the other championship hopefuls, can't be too disappointed at second, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Because this track, it seemed very chaotic. It seemed like a lot of the races you had Ronan who was leading quite comfortably, and then all the rest of you kind of bunched up, and then you come across a lapped car that's come across difficulty, and you're all kind of scattering in different directions. So, how would you kind of rate it overall, and your own race, obviously, or your own evening, and like, how difficult was it to just survive in amongst all that chaos?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I like the track to drive. Like it is very fun, the like elevation changes and stuff. But it's quite difficult to race. Like turn 1 is one of the few spots you can make a kind of set move. But then if someone hangs around the outside, they have the inside for turn 2. So you have to really think about the moves that you're making. And then just because of the elevation and because of the way the corners are, the right and then the left, turn 1 and 2 are just essentially hairpins. If something goes wrong up ahead of you, it's very hard to like see. So I think it was Gary who went around in the second race, and yeah, it just scattered. So it's kind of tough to know where to put the car. But yeah, I kept out of trouble mostly. I got a lot of off tracks in that second to last and last corner. But other than that, kept out of trouble. And hopefully, I assume I'm still in the lead of the championship just based on where everyone else finished. So happy with that result.
Yeah, because look, it's one of those evenings where it could have all gone Pete Tong for you, but you managed to keep in it. And sometimes winning a championship isn't necessarily about being or having exceptional performances. It's just about staying out of trouble, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, especially in a championship like this where everyone is nose to tail for 90% of the races. I reckon that's what it's gonna be all about. The drop round, obviously we only have one, so I have a feeling a lot of that is going to be taken at Bathurst. A lot of those drop rounds. So yeah, keeping it kind of clean in these early rounds with the kind of more open and wide tracks is, I reckon, going to pay dividends but by the end of the season.
Super. Well, Connor, congratulations, second place, and I would suspect most certainly you're still in at the top of the championship. And look, best of luck. No doubt we'll be speaking to you very shortly.
Cheers, lads.
So it's Conor Melia, and finally Evan. The two Evans that I mix up all of the time join each other. Evan Walsh being joined by Evan Dalton.
Evan, good to see someone's doing the name a bit of dignity these days. You're making quite a habit of these strong results. Second podium of the season.
I 100% fluked my way into that one now tonight. Between the bad qualifying now and a bit of a disaster in the first race there, I was not expecting to. I was actually expecting this to be a drop round now, to be honest with you, after the first race. But no, absolutely delighted now with that podium. Didn't expect that one at all. No.
You've always kind of been better in tin tops than single seaters, but these Mazdas seem to be treating you especially nice. Is it a car that you enjoy driving?
No, I absolutely hate it. I cannot get used to the tire model. It's like I'm driving around with no force feedback. I've no feeling. Like even Campto now in those last kind of 5 minutes, there was some laps there I was losing probably not far off a second every lap. It was yeah, that was really hard going now. Yeah, any longer at all, he would have definitely been past me.
It's interesting actually because usually when we ask the question, do you enjoy driving it? They all go, oh yeah, I love this car, whatever. But it's good to hear a bit of honesty. Totally unrelated question then. New Discord profile for you tonight. Has the other one finally been banned?
No, I can't figure out what has happened to it. Big panic. Couldn't log in. Apparently it doesn't exist anymore. It's still here somewhere, but yeah, I need to go investigate and see what is going on there.
Evan, congratulations on the podium tonight. And look, the way it's going, we'll be speaking to you again before the end of the season.
Fingers crossed. Thanks, lads.
So good to hear from our podium as we watched nothing short of a massacre on our screens during that one. Driver of the day then, Kevin. The stream chat is fairly one-sided. Seems to be a lot of votes for Callahan and Dave Collier.
Yeah, like Robbie Callahan was the first one in my mind because of his superb final drive, but I can understand Dave Collier as well. Happy to give it to Dave Collier, and perhaps we'll probably give it to Robbie Callahan at another point if people want to go with Dave Collier. I'm very happy to do that. Some great battling, particularly with Emma Dempsey there at the end. So yeah, let's go with that. Let's give our Gantry TV driver of the day to the number 16 car of Dave Collier, with Robbie Callahan getting a most honourable second mention.
Yes, our very own DC picking up your Gantry TV driver of the day, and another good evening in RTA, especially here in Lime Rock. Next week we travel back over to the UK to Donington Park for our return there. Here on our RTA fan favourites, it seems. Yeah, good racing and should be more fun next week, Kevin.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. Thanks to yourself, Evan, as always. Thanks to Ronan. Thanks to all of you who are watching. Ronan Doherty wins the first two, and Robbie Callahan wins the final one. That's despite Conor Melia throwing the kitchen sink at Robbie Callahan, which I can only presume he bought at Howden's new depot in Naas. Thanks very much for watching us. Have a good week, and we'll talk to you very shortly. Slán go fóill.